So yeah, the next game is Kingdom Builder from the known author Donald. We all know him. Maybe from a game like Dominion. I don't know.
Maybe. Few people maybe have heard of that. It's very rare.
Very rare. There wasn't quite a lot of spin-offs of deck building, but it's his first board game, and very happy that Queen Games has it. And yes, like if you want to look at the art, I think the box cover is very pretty. I'm very happy about it. Yeah, it's a game for 2 to 4 people. You can play it from 8 up, and 45 minutes. I think it's a good time.
Well, and as we were actually talking about this last night, without even explaining the game yet, seems to have that same quality that Donald X is so well known for, it being very addictive, very quickly.
Very addictive. It is like Dominion. It's very easy to teach.
Yes.
I will show you.
Oh yes. We're going to teach the whole thing.
And it's unbelievable variable. So you might play about 1,000 games and never play the same. It's always different combinations. So yeah, always have to think differently. So these are the rules. This game comes in 5 languages.
Is that all?
It's the first 5.
All right,
more
coming.
Yeah,
I'm sure plenty of folks on BGG will happily create more translations for other
but
things.
We have other translations in the pipeline. So the game comes with 8 boards of these fancy things. And a lot of stuff. Just put it down here. And nice cards. So what we're trying to accomplish in this game is we are kings, trying to build our queens, of course. And we're trying to build our kingdom, and we're trying to build it better than the other players. And that's determined at the end of the game by whoever wins the most gold. So first we assemble our landscape. There are 8 game board sections in the box, and we only need 4. So you can choose randomly or whichever one you would like.
Well,
so
we'll just be boring and choose the top 4
okay,
off the top of the pile. Yeah, well, yeah. We got to pace ourselves. It's a long convention.
So then you just put them into a square. You can choose any direction.
I was just going to say, so could I orient this one upside down if I wanted to?
You can orient this upside down, you can put this there, this there. It doesn't matter.
Whose responsibility is it to design the land?
You can do it collaboratively. You can say, okay, I want this. You can negotiate it if you want. Or you can say, you do it. Or the youngest, the oldest, whichever one you
I'm
like.
going to go get a drink. You set up the board.
Well, could take some time because it's fun to do it. So if you're happy with the setup, then we need to place these little guys. And these little guys. So basically, one thing to say is every of the game board section has different locations. So on these 4 we chose here, we have the tavern, we have the paddock, we have the oasis, and we have the harbor. So all these mean different abilities in the game. So according to which section you choose, you'd have different abilities in the game. Which everything does, I will explain in a moment. You just have to figure out the right ones. Oh, it's basically one still inside the box.
Still in the box.
Right. So now we put these little chips, 2 on every space.
Aha. So 2 oasis.
Because you need the chips to actually have those abilities.
2 harbors, or harbors from my native Boston.
And the paddocks. And this is space. So I will assemble it.
Now are we matching all the, oh that's more.
Yes, the harbor is just
more
once.
ins.
There are abilities that are just once, and there are abilities that always have 2 spaces on the board.
So you have enough bits here for however, whatever combination you could possibly come up with.
Of course we have. There are 2 paddocks still inside the box, or I lose them. Doesn't matter.
Possibly over at your booth.
So, and the basic turn in this game, before I come to how you earn gold, is you got these settlements. Every player has 40 settlements, and we place these settlements on the board.
Oh, and because we might not have enough room on the table, the back sides of these are your...
The back side is, you can place it anywhere. It's for counting your gold at the end of the game.
Right,
because you just score at the end of the game. So we don't need this right now.
Right.
But at the end.
Didn't want to forget that here. I'll toss some blue ones over your way.
Yes. So your basic turn is at the start of the game. You get one of the terrain cards, which look like this on the bottom. And we have 5 of these terrains.
Which actually we're going to orient towards you, because that is right
told
side
me
up.
Earlier
oh, that's okay. Everyone's been forgetting. Including us, and we only work here.
Yes, we got 5 beautiful terrains, I guess. So there's the desert, the canyon, the forest, grassland, and flower field. Flower field because we needed the color and something nice to put in.
I have to say, I think it's the first game I can think of that has a flower field as a terrain type.
Yeah,
it's quite lovely.
Where you build settlements, and so it's a very cozy place to have your house in. Yes, these are all represented on the board. So desert is the yellow one, forest the dark green, grass the light green, flower the mixed up colors, and the canyon expected here. There are 2 other terrains, which is water, where you cannot build on, except you have the harbor, which is in play, and the hills, the mountains, which you never can build. Yes. So on your turn, basically, at the start of the game, everybody gets 1 terrain card dealt. So if it's your turn, it's your turn now.
All right, so I'm going to show
card.
my terrain card. I have grassland.
No. So, and now you build, that's your must move, you have to do it. You have to place 3 settlements on the board.
Do they need to be adjacent?
They need to, that's what I was going to say. They need to be adjacent. But since you don't have any settlement now on the board, they don't need to be adjacent. But the first one, you can now pick any location, any grass hex on the board.
Any grassland, okay.
Any grass. Immer always according.
Well, we'll go.
This would be not alright, because if the first one you place, then the next one has to be adjacent.
All right, so I'm all going to be clustered over there by the harbor.
Right. And if you do a smart move, remove those and try to get an ability early on. So I will take those.
yes. Set me up for a better move.
And then you collect 1 chip.
Only if I am adjacent.
Only if you're adjacent. If you build adjacent to one of these, 1 settlement counts. The next settlement you build adjacent to it doesn't count. So if you want two taverns, you have to build here.
Okay.
Next to the other copy of that.
But I have now built next to a tavern and acquired a tavern chip.
You get a tavern chip. This is available to you next round. And I will explain it when we come to that.
Yeah.
So it's my turn. I also have grass. So I place my 3, let's say about here.
Which gives you the oasis
Which
chip.
gives me the oasis. Right. So at the end of the turn, I forgot that, you draw a new card.
All right.
These one go to the discard pile.
Which stays face down. My new card stays face down until...
You can keep it in hand, but don't show the other guys.
Because I could be planning out maybe where I want to go next.
You can plan, you can look, you can plan, you can do whatever you want, but it gives you the freedom to plan ahead, if you want to. Always depends on the player. Yes, so it's the next turn. So how do we earn gold?
All right, since that's when this is the game.
Since this is a game, you place settlements on the boards. Settlements must have something to do with earning gold. So now comes the second very variable component in this game. We got Kingdom Builder cards. This is the back side, and this is the front side. Every one of these 10 cards give different conditions on what you own, on which you earn gold. And you only have 3 in play, and these 3 count for every player.
Okay.
So, for example, if you choose the first Discoverers, build settlements on many horizontal lines. This is one horizontal line. We got 20 on the board. And if you build one settlement on every horizontal line, or at any, you get 1 gold.
So I have 2 points right now since I am on 2 horizontal lines. So you would get 3 points actually.
This,
you are on 3.
Lucky guess. They are all different kinds. There are easier ones, like the miners just build settlements next to a mountain. If you build next to a mountain, adjacent to a mountain, you get a gold.
Because you can never build on the mountain.
You can never build on the mountain, so you have to build adjacent to mountains, yes. So there's the fishers, build settlements next to on the waterfront. This gets also easy. Another one that's mostly easy is the workers. The workers gives you points if you build around a castle or a location. So every settlement around gives you points.
Now, if, let's say with the harbor here that is bordering the water, would there be less spots around this since you would not be able to build on the water?
Right. Unless you have the harbor, then you can build on it. But it's not always in play, so it always changes things up. So now for the other part, knights. This is interesting because the knights gives you 2 points for every settlement you have on one horizontal line. So you try to build this way, and the discoverer, as mentioned earlier, wants you to build this way. So if both of these are in play, you kind of have to choose one or the other. Like what does the other players do, and do this.
These are all, I'm going to wait until they're done announcing for a moment. That's very loud. Are they telling us anything interesting?
No, they don't. Maybe the one driver who has to get his car out of the way. Because otherwise a truck will drive through him. So it's
hard enough to hear it over a PA when it's in your own
language. It could be my car, I don't know it. I know, I hope not.
Now these are public information right from the start of the game.
These are public information right from the start. You draw 3 randomly, and these every player knows it. So there are other, like the merchants, you have to connect cities or locations with a string of settlements that there's no open space in between.
So like from here to here would be a connection.
This would be a connection. You get 4 golds. I always say points, even if it's gold.
Yeah, no, we know what you mean. The thing that wins you the game.
Right. The lords are very interesting because there are 4 game board sections in every play, and if you have the most on one section, you get 12 gold. And you can, on every game board section counts. So if you try to get on 2, you get 24 points, which is pretty good.
The lord of the northwest corner, the lord of the southwest corner.
Right. And the vice lord also gets 6 gold. Citizens, which reward the largest settlement area. So if you have a big clump of settlements all connected, you get 2 points for 1 point for every 2 settlements in there. Since you have 40 settlements, you can get 20 points. Also a good card. The hermits. If you got many lonely settlements, then you get points. So you try to be as diverse on the board as possible, so you get points. Very contrary to the citizen, which tries to keep things together. Mm-hmm. So if these 2 cards in play, it's very
much the same relationship between those 2.
Some are very complementary to each other, some victory conditions, and some are very
opposing.
Opposing, right. Thank you. And the farmers, you have to build on every quadrant to win points for this game, for this card, gold for this card, but only the quadrant where you have the least settlements. Each settlement gives you 3 gold. So it's hard to achieve, but you can earn many points.
All right, now, so if I was going to just walk through my second turn very quickly here, my next card would be a canyon.
We need.
Oh yes, we need my 3 things, so I know. So I'm aiming for, because now we'll see if I've absorbed these pretty well. Actually, I'm going to keep these on the board to make them a little bit easier to see. We're trying to do as many horizontal lines, the largest clump possible, and unfortunately, its opposing card having as many. Yes. Well, I might say I'm not so interested in the citizens, so maybe I want to start a new settlement over here.
But you couldn't do that right now.
I couldn't do it because
you are adjacent to a canyon.
So I have so I must
have to place it there.
So I would have to go.
So a tip for everybody who's playing the first time is try to place your first settlement so you're not adjacent to many terrains. It would be the first tip, because then it doesn't matter which card you draw, you can go on the board wherever you want.
Which, and going off of this Discoveries victory point card, I tried to spread them out across as many horizontal lines as I could. So,
yes. So you got 5 points right now. 5 gold.
5 gold.
And 1 settlement of yours is just a little bit off.
My crooked house.
So, and now every turn you got the right, if you got a chip, to use this ability. And this ability allows you to put a settlement, an additional settlement, at the end of a straight line, which at least contains 3 of your own settlements, which you got here.
I do have that here. So I can just, and I couldn't add it to the mountain, but I could tag it on the end there.
At the end.
At the end. Where would be the end of mine?
The end would be here.
Oh, the end would be over there. All right,
so you got 3 in a straight line, and at the end of this straight line, both ends.
Yes, since that is not a legal spot.
Not an eligible spot.
But it is the end of my line.
This is the end of mine.
All right.
This was correct. Yes. So, and this goes on. So my turn was desert. Since I'm not adjacent to a desert hex, I can choose any desert hex.
Which is how perhaps
so I got points for hermits. Yes. And I choose what's freezing.
Yes, the door's open again.
It's really freezing.
I do believe we might have the coldest booth.
This might actually be.
Yeah, because we actually have 2 huge open doors on either side of our booth, so it is quite chilly here.
Yes, so there I can explain what the castle does, because the castle has no chips on it, so it's not just pretty artwork. If you got, at the end of the game, if you got 1 settlement adjacent, at least 1 settlement adjacent to a castle space, you get 3 extra gold.
So, similar to Through the Desert, that you can touch an oasis. So, all right.
Yes. And these are not so important at the beginning of the game, but at the end you try to get as many castles as you can.
Now I'm guessing that these things in the corner are just reminders of what the
these
special
are just
powers.
Reminders. You have them on the chips at the back. There's also the same pictogram.
And just to test our symbology here, obviously we already did the tavern up here because that was my special power, but looking at the harbor over here would be take a settlement and put it on a water tile.
Right,
which
and
normally
take
you wouldn't be an existing one.
settlement.
Oh yes, since it's already on a hex.
Genau.
That would be take one from your supply and put it on a desert. Now does that have to be connected to anything?
This also applies, this adjacent rule applies to every desert.
All right, and then that last one I'm guessing is place it in the same row.
Yeah, yes, that's right. You can move 2 hexes, and this is the only ability where it doesn't have to be adjacent.
All right.
So proven wrong. In this time, you can, this settlement, for example, you can move in any direction, and then you could move over the mountain. Only the target hex has to be eligible for building.
So if I let's say I've acquired a paddock and a tavern, can I use both of those at the end of my turn?
And now comes the tricky part. You can use it before, during, or after you place your 3 tokens. And you don't have to use them.
I see, so I could perhaps use my paddock to spawn something a bit further away, perhaps allowing me to then use my required building to then spawn wherever that might be.
Right.
Yeah,
in this situation, if you don't want to use this canyon hex, you could use just your paddock first, jump over here, and now you're adjacent to a new canyon. So this is kind of the strategy in the game, to try to use your abilities as best as you can to get as many points as you can.
And I'm guessing, I'm waiting for somebody to do the math across how many different combinations of boards you can have, across how many different combinations of 3.
Yes, actually at BoardGameGeek there's a discussion about
all right, somebody's already figured it out. I knew they would.
Somebody figured it out. I guess it's about 13,000 different combinations that you can have through the 8 different boards and 10 cards, and this mix-up was pretty high math. I couldn't do it. I just hope he's right, but I guess. Yes, you have unbelievable many combinations that you can play, and it's really placed differently which cards you have. Because like this, you have to build horizontally, otherwise you have to connect things and it's very, very variable, and this is the fun of the game.
When I'm thinking, particularly some of these cards, I could really be focusing on one of those, while you could be, even within the same game, that you and I might have a very different experience.
Yes, and yeah, right. And you can. The good part is sometimes you have big strategy games. You play around, and at the end you figure you lose by about 70 points or something. You try to figure out why. Why does this one guy beat me by so much? But here it's cool. You see a move that one player does, and you can directly imitate it. You learn why you play it. This is pretty damn cool. So you don't have to sit there and figure out what the hell went wrong. You see it while you play it. Yeah, and we got other abilities on the board. Maybe we can show them. The farm, which you know the terminology.
Yes, so one from your supply to a grassland.
To a grassland.
And adjacent rule applies.
Adjacent rule applies, yes. Then we got the oracle.
Ah, which would be a landscape of your choice.
Yes, we didn't know how quite to do.
Yeah, hey, well, I like guessing at this.
Yes, it's not of your choice, it's what you draw.
Ah, okay.
What you have drawn. And in the one space. So it basically allows you to put 4 settlements each turn, which is a great thing to have. This one is also nice. It's a tower.
Ooh,
I don't know if a princess is on top or not.
And you'll have to explain that one to me. Can't quite guess from this. Okay. Obviously, one from your supply goes somewhere.
Goes somewhere, and it goes on the edge on the board.
Ah, okay. Well, which makes sense. It's a tower.
You can see at the edge of the board. So.
Now, would you, let's say you didn't have anything adjacent.
Then you can choose any hex.
So that the adjacent rule does not apply to that?
It applies as soon as you place the first one.
Okay. So and then you can spawn off other ones.
I think this is a good situation here. Here I had to place adjacent with my tower, but since I'm not allowed to place on water X, now I can choose any space on the edge of the board.
So similar rules as if you couldn't go into your target landscape at first shot. All right.
Then we got the barn.
Moving a placed settlement to a settlement based on the card that you just drew. All right, there you go.
So yes, and yeah, that's basically Kingdom Builder.
All right.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Try it out.
Oh yeah, this has definitely been high on my list to try as well. So
it's very good, and yeah, it makes a lot of fun. We tested it over and over and over, but like every company. So.
Well, Frank, I know we'll probably see you or one of your friends later, where maybe we can talk about some of your other games, like German Railways. I know we're going to have later on in a convention.
We have another appointment, I guess.
Yes, we do. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. Stay warm when you come back to visit us.
I will stay warm. I will leave here.
All right, and this is Kingdom Builder.